If you want to get off the proposal merry-go-round and more than double the close rate of clients, this is the video for you. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you need to change how you're pitching and then give you the roadmap to doubling your close rates. Now, I used to do proposals for my agency, but one night after sending yet another proposal and then getting ghosted, I swore to never do it again. So what did I do instead? I asked for a check before I did anything. Now, if the client, that prospect, wouldn't do a paid discovery session, I told them to get lost. Now, here are the 5 reasons why I stopped sending proposals and instead insisted on being paid to create a plan upfront by the client. So the first reason is I started attracting higher quality clients. A paid discovery phase where they pay me before I do anything to assess what they need acts as a filtering mechanism. Only clients who value planning and they're willing to invest in a strategy are going to pay me for this. Shitty clients who just don't plan, they expect magic and then they quit, those are the ones who are turned off by this kind of setup. So clients that plan, they're the ones that understand that what you're doing for them, what your agency is actually doing for them, takes time, it takes expertise. But clients who balk at paying for a discovery, they end up being the most difficult down the road. Ask me how I know, and you probably know that too. They have unrealistic expectations. They're likely to churn out quickly. So I just let them walk. Rather than wasting time reacting to their knee-jerk demands. I am looking for planners who are going to value what my business does for them. And that's the first thing that this does. The second thing that having a paid discovery process does is it helped me instill a planning mindset up front. So this discovery process where I'm being paid establishes a planning mindset from the very first day that I'm dealing with a client. So I get to set the expectation that marketing requires research, requires analysis, it requires strategy. This mindset sticks with the client well beyond the initial engagement. So even beyond that first discovery engagement, it keeps them disciplined so they're not demanding immediate results. They're in my process. They're in my world now. So most prospects, what do? They come to you, they've got some crisis, they want to do something and they want to skip straight to the tactics. They don't want to do the strategy. And most prospects are also shitty. Is that a coincidence? Well, I don't know. But paid discovery forces them to slow down. It forces them to do the work to build an intelligent foundation, or they can fuck off. The third thing that I got to do is better frame my agency's value. Paid discovery lets me demonstrate the value that I have to provide firsthand and making my now much higher pricing much easier to swallow because I'm able to show them the strategic value that I provide, not just be the monkey who does what they think they want done. When clients experience how my strategy can transform their business, they're more than happy to pay higher retainer fees. The fourth reason why I did this and why it worked is that I increased the lifetime value of every single client. So this paid discovery process, instead of doing a proposal requiring that they pay for a plan, enhances the lifetime value of that client for me in multiple ways. First of all, the close rate from prospect into paid discovery is much higher than jumping straight to retainer. Remember what I said earlier? I was sending proposals, super frustrated. They were just ghosting me on the proposals. When I stopped sending proposals and I instead say, stop, what we're going to do is do this paid discovery, my close rate was higher. Why? Because it got the right folks in the door. And then the paid discovery was a small commitment. I wasn't asking them to get married at the beginning. I wasn't asking them to have this big retainer for me at the very beginning. I was saying, let's just do this project together. Let's see if there's a fit. Let me give you a strategy. So the close rates went up. The second thing was I established these planning sessions up front as part of the engagement. So the strategic review process became part of the engagement and it actually increased retention because when a client comes in and you're trying to jump straight to a retainer relationship, you haven't set the expectations of what success looks like. If instead you can say, stop, here's where you are, here's where you need to be, here's what we're going to do to get there, and here are the KPIs that we know that we're being successful together. We've now set expectations about how it's measured. It's very hard to do that if you're jumping straight into an engagement where it's month to month because the client is going to have something in their head. You've got something different in your head. So very often retention is low. So this is going to increase retention. The next thing is ongoing planning keeps the relationship fresh and evolving instead of stagnant. Again, the client's got one thing in their head. You've got something different in your head. So what's the process for synchronizing on that? Well, it's doing this paid engagement up front and then doing it on a periodic basis. So what I would do is quarterly, we would again do this and say, where are we? Where do we need to go? And what's the plan to get there? So doing this on a regular basis, again, that boosted retention because the client always felt like we were in sync, that we're on their team, that we're working together. And that made the lifetime value of a client much longer than if you just kind of do the same thing over and over and no one really talks to each other about what the goals are. And has their business changed? Has the market changed? So this is how you go from being a vendor to a strategic partner. And that increases your rates, that increases the longevity of the client, making you a lot more money. So when you combine all of those things together, we're talking the higher close rates, the longer retention, higher lifetime value, the impact on my business was massive. And I believe it can be on any agency if they adopt this as well. The fifth thing is I ensured consistency. So the structured process that I went through in order to do this paid engagement at the beginning, this paid discovery engagement at the beginning, enables the team to deliver consistent quality because it removes variability. If each one is different and the client comes to you and it's just a quick get in there, start the engagement as fast as possible, things can go in all different directions. But again, by setting that expectation, we're getting the information first in order to make an assessment. We now know the lay of the land. We can give them the roadmap of how it's going to go month 1, month 2, month 3. And that methodology guides all your client engagements instead of kind of being reactive and case by case. What that did for us was increased consistency, and that increased client satisfaction. So the client's happier, we've got consistency, so we know who we have to hire, so we know how we have to deliver it. It was a win-win situation for us and for the clients. So now you've heard the 5 reasons why it really worked well for my agency. So now you might be thinking about, okay, I want to make the shift. So how do I transition to paid discovery? It's going to take some work, but the payoff was absolutely huge for my agency. I believe it can be for yours too. So here are some tips on how to make it real. The first thing is to adjust your sales conversations. So if it's you doing sales, you're going to do this yourself. If you've got a sales team doing it, you have to get on board to position paid discovery as a required starting point. This can't be optional. This has to be required. The sales process needs to convey the value of investing in strategy before tactical execution. So the important thing here is to say that this is actually the right way to do it. And if you, client, are not interested in doing it the right way, we're not going to do a good job for you. You're not going to get a good result. Any real organization is going to insist on this. If you take that position, that's what helps you increase your close rates and instill in the client how important this is. And frankly, chase off the clients that suck. The next thing you'll need to do is refine your discovery offering. So you need to clearly define what that discovery engagement includes. How long is it? What does it cost? What are you going to deliver? And then you're going to stick to it consistently across clients. No exceptions. Again, no exceptions. If you're giving yourself an out, well, I'll kind of sort of try this, you're not going to do well. You really need to make a full-on commitment to do this. In many of my businesses in the past, when I've made this half-hearted commitment to, oh, I'll try it a couple times, you are not good at it at the beginning. So maybe your old methodology might actually, in the couple times you try it, do a little bit better. You haven't committed to it fully. If you commit to this fully and move your entire organization to it, then you will actually see the rewards of this. The third thing to do is to educate clients. And that is developing marketing assets that explain why discovery is so important, why it's a must. It's not a luxury. So I developed these playbooks, which we could send, the sales team could send to a potential client saying, this is why paid discovery is required. This is why we will not work with someone who isn't serious about understanding their need and where they need to go before retaining an agency. This can be an email, can be a one-page PDF, it can be a webinar, whatever format it is. But having that as an asset is going to help you so that you are setting the frame for the relationship before it even begins. The next thing is enhancing your onboarding. So in order to implement this, you'll need to beef up your internal processes around onboarding new discovery clients. So once again, we're talking playbooks. You want to ensure consistency across all your engagements, whether that is checklists, however you store your standard operating procedures. Creating this as a process is what's going to get the value out of it for yourself. The next item is to mine your retainer leads. So what you want to do is leverage your current retainer clients to generate referrals specifically for discovery engagements. These clients that you already have on retainer, they know firsthand the power of you working with them for the long term. They can be some of the best advocates, and getting that referral business is going to be much easier. And when you do that, you snap them into this new process that you have, and the close rates are going to be sky high. The final thing to do is to review results. The next thing that really helped me solidify this is by tracking conversion rates from the discovery session to the retainer clients. So I had a conversion rate beforehand from proposal to retainer, but now you're tracking it from paid discovery through to the retainer. And what's going to happen here is you're going to see what are the net dollars, not just from the initial engagement, but from the lifetime value for the ongoing engagement. Now, this is going to take you a while to track, and you might take a few months to start to see any patterns here. But once you give it the time that it's going to take to get really good at this, you're going to find, like I did, that the conversion rate from discovery to retainer multiplied by how long that engagement is going to net you a lot more money than just trying to sell directly into a retainer. So if today you hate your clients, if your close rates suck, if you want to get paid more, switching to paid discovery can change that. That's what it did for me and my agency, and that's what I want for yours.